Before we start the session, let's invoke the blessings of our Lord Almighty. I invite Evangeline Steffi for the prayer.
Let's pray. Pray for the college. O thou who in days past didst put into the hearts of good men to found this college for the imparting of sound learning, the building of character, and the spread of spiritual truth and the knowledge of thyself. Bless a college and schools. May love, unity, and brotherhood be learned here. May industry uprightness and courage grow here, and from this place may there be henceforth continual a stream of men and women who shall serve thee faithfully in thy world. Amen.
Now I invite head of the department, Dr. Armstrong sir, to address the gathering.
Okay, so welcome, and we have at another session, one more session today. We have a lot of showers around, and there's been showers of blessing upon the department, because in the morning we had one session from a person, a resource person from Accenture USA, and now we have another session now from Mrs. Jessy Mathew, okay, from Oman. So from US to Oman, we have two resource people in the same day, and very happy to welcome Mrs. Jessy Mathew, who's been the HR consultant, and she is from Al Amal Al Watania, and also a director in Accurate Training Services, Muscat, Oman. I should say that Mrs. Jessy Thomas has been my batchmate in PG program. We did our PG program together in University of Madras, I should say about 2 decades ago. And even then she was very enterprising, so we could see, what she might become, in about 20 years down the lane at that time itself. And she has proved herself, and she has been a very nice person. And she has been involved in so many activities at the college, and particularly, a lot of experience in the HR domain, I should say. And being a Friday, pretty well in Middle East, Friday is a holiday. Okay, being a Friday, now she has taken time off, personal time, and she's agreed to be with us. And I've been now trying to get her on board, for some time. Even last year I tried, and she said, no, like sometime when I come to Chennai, I'll definitely drop in. Okay, and we thought maybe we have this excellent environment of online communication. So we thought maybe we can have the Zoom meeting, and she readily accepted for that as well. And she was very focused, and we recently had our reunion, and she was instrumental in getting all our batchmates across. And because it's a very difficult situation, because now that you're studying together as students, you all tend to be together, but now like after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years, it's been almost 20-25 years since we have completed, and we got back together, and it was a lovely occasion. And it was because of a few students like Jessy. So I'm really happy to welcome you as a resource person, Jessy, and looking forward to a very nice interaction with the students. I promised her that our students are different. I said that our students are one of the best in the country, and she said, yes, we know about that. MCC stands for the quality, and here we are. And maybe I'm sure that at the end of the day, we'll be having a bit of interaction with her. I also take this opportunity to welcome our own students from the department and the staff members who have joined. So thank you all. Wish you a very nice interactive session.
Now, our speaker for the day is none other than Jessy Mathew. She is a highly accomplished and a renowned international trainer and speaker. She is currently working with Al Amal Al Wataniya LLC, a prestigious management and HR consultancy, as its director in Oman. She's also the managing director of Camden Importers and Exporters, situated in Info Park, Kakanad, Ernakulam. She's also the founder director of JJ2 Consultancies in UK, and she has been contributing towards the HR and talent development sphere in India, Oman, and UK for the past 2 decades. And we are really happy to have her with us today. And I invite Jessy Mathew for your session.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong, and thank you, uh, our beloved MC. I didn't get your name,
Ma'am, it's Dia.
Dia. Thank you, Dia, for introducing, and thank you for a lovely introduction, Dr. Armstrong. He's been a good friend to me, and when he called and he asked me what topic I should take, so I was telling that I have been talking in various universities in Oman, specifically in Sultan Qaboos University, on civility at workplace. So, I just asked, who are the students? They're the final year students. So it's very important that what you learn now is entirely different. Dr. Armstrong will agree with me. It's entirely different when it comes to the workplace. So today what we are discussing, because you're going to be from one area to other place, which is your second home or your office. Okay, thank you for inviting me to speak on Tycoons Talk, Civility at Workplace. Thank you, Madras Christian College and Department of Business Administration, dear HOD and students. Civility in the workplace is something that has been around for about 2 to 3 years. And it's my favorite to speak on because ultimately we can't argue with civility. The way we treat people is always, and I mean always, a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself, your body, mind, and spirit. Civility starts with the individual and it starts with you. You have a choice and you have got to let that choice be yours. And ultimately, you have got to practice it. We are human. We're going to make mistakes. And as a matter of fact, you're going to be probably messing up with incivility on a daily basis. So, who do you want to be? It's a very simple question. Whether you know it or not, you're answering it every day through your actions. This one question will define your professional success more than any other, because how you show up and treat people means everything. Either you lift people up by respecting them or making them feel valued, appreciated, and heard, or you hold people down by making them small, insulted, and disregarded or excluded. And how you choose to be means everything. Civility represents the social norms and the rules that must be followed in order to positively and productively relate with others. When we hear the word civility, what are the words which come to our mind? It includes respect, courtesy, tolerance, consideration, and a rational approach to conflicts. So behaviors that threaten positive and productive relations with other people, therefore, constitute uncivil behavior. You can be uncivil without meaning to. For instance, you simply assume that what is acceptable in one social context, say at your old workplace or at your college or at your home, is acceptable across all contexts. Or you can be uncivil intentionally, that is verbally attacking a friend or a co-worker because you can't be bothered to provide reasonable accommodation. So I define civility as a consistent implementation of respect and It is that consistent piece of that definition that is so difficult for us to achieve, especially when we are not at the same page. The fact is, civility is all about how you and I treat one another, with or without respect. So, civility is crucial because how you and I treat each other, in other words, how our behavior has an impact on us and on our lives, positive or negative. So, what is incivility? It's disrespect or rudeness. It includes a lot of different behaviors, from mocking or belittling someone to teasing people in ways that sting, to telling offensive jokes, to texting in meetings. And what's uncivil to one person may be absolutely fine for another. Take texting while someone is speaking to you. Someone of us may find it rude, but others may think it's absolutely civil. So it really depends, and it is in the eyes of the beholder, and whether that person felt disrespected. And we may not mean to make someone feel that way, but when we do, it has consequences. And we are seeing the consequences. Civility pays, uncivility costs. We are seeing the US elections. Not going deep into it, but there is a research done by Christian Porat. It was compared that experience in civility, those people who have experienced civility, to those who didn't experience incivility. And what they found is that those that experience incivility do actually function much worse. And it's okay, you may say. And this is making sense, right? After all, it is natural that their performance suffers because they have experienced incivility. But what about those if you're not the one who experienced it? What if just to see or hear it and you are just a witness? They wondered if it affected the witnesses too. So they conducted studies where 5 participants would witness experimenter act rudely to someone who arrived late in the college. The experimenter said, "What is with you? You arrived late and you are so irresponsible. Look at you. How do you expect to hold a job in the real world?" In another study, in a small group, they tested the effects of peer insulting a group member. Now, what they find was really interesting because witnesses' performance decreased too. So it's not just marginally, quite significantly. So incivility is a bug. It is contagious. We become carriers of it just by being around it. And this isn't just confined to the workplace. We can catch this virus like coronavirus everywhere, at home, at institution, online, in schools, in our communities. It affects our emotions, our motivation, our performance, and how we treat others. It even affects our attention and can take some of our brain power. And this happens not only if we experience incivility or we witness it. So, what are the behaviors considered to be uncivil? There are many. There are many. But let me just point out few. Failing to acknowledge another person's presence. Sometimes we ignore people's greetings and well wishes. Yeah? So that is also called incivil behavior. Using abusive language. It can be verbally abusive, texting, abusive with abusive language, using crude language. Then gossiping. It is uncivil behavior to both instigate and spread rumors against another person, and discounting employee contribution. This happens in the corporate world. But discounting means deliberately downplaying or ignoring the importance of another person's statement or work contribution. So, for instance, some members in the team may tend to cut off a person that they do not like during the brainstorming session, taking credit or worse compensation for work you did not do is an example of discounting behavior. And which is happening in all the institutions, bullying and intimidating your co-workers or your friends. That's also uncivil behavior. Sabotaging individual and company efforts. Then discriminating against a particular individual or a group, attacking an individual based on intrinsic characteristics such as religion, race, gender, mental ability, and physical appearance. Practicing insensitivity against co-workers' needs. That's also incivil behavior. Practicing poor etiquette in dealing with correspondence, like ignoring phone calls or emails, not replying to that, and using company email to send private messages or discussing individuals in the mailing list as if they do not exist. So it's worth noting that civility goes beyond mere good manners. Civility is about effective self-awareness and effective social awareness. You can't be an effective practitioner of civility until you recognize your place in this general scheme of things. And you develop an appreciation for the unique contribution of all else around you. It's delicate balance between pursuing self-interest and practicing self-control in order for others and the organization to pursue their interests well. The case against stronger forms of uncivil behavior, such as bullying and racial discrimination, is easy to build. And we are seeing in this world, it's very easy to build. After all, violence in the workplace can get an employee fired, or if not arrested, sent to prison. And we have such an example in our media recently. So, but how about the softer, yet no less important acts of civility? Are there compelling reasons to give one's boss a warm hello every morning? Is that cost you? It doesn't cost you much. So are there tangible benefits to making sure that you don't dump your folders in your neighbor's workstation? Or for more subtle acts of consideration, the case of engaging a civil behavior seems harder to present, but not impossible. So there are 3 reasons why we should practice civil behavior. First thing is there is no escaping other people. We have to live in the society. So cliche as it may sound, no man is an island. So you may be a self-starter, a person who takes pride in being able to work with minimal supervision. You still need to trust your teammates in order to execute an idea. And whether you admit it or not, the positive regard to those who work with you will do a whole lot of your self-esteem. Unless you learn how to play nice, and you will never be able to make it very far. Or at least your path towards success is littered with landmines you could do without, yeah? So in short, your survival in the modern world, a world where everyone is linked together, probably more so than in the past few decades, depends on civility. So there are many benefits on practicing civil behavior. civility is lacking in the WIM, factor. That is, what's in it for me? That is the factor, WIIFM factor. What's in it for me factor. Some of the benefits of civility to an organization or to an individual or to you are even proven by empirical research. To begin with, civility helps to create a positive working environment. But as importantly, the deliberate practice of civility can help a person to grow as an individual. Civility teaches emotional intelligence, and the person learns to control anger, frustration, until an appropriate time comes to express it. He and or she understands that there may be more important things at stake than a petty argument during a board meeting. He and she reaches goals set for self and others. So managing uncivil behavior also teaches social skills such as conflict management, negotiation skills, which can be applied across many areas of your life. And now, since you're going out from a very confined institution and very disciplined manner to a very organized office, you need to follow certain policies. So you can apply all this when you are out at work. Lastly, it's the right thing to do. Being civil is the right thing to do. If anything else, civility is recommended because it's the right thing to do. Most of the world accepted religion, philosophies, the belief systems advocate indeed isn't the golden rule, do unto others what you would like others to do unto you. Right? So just behave the way you wanted to be treated by others. So that is civil behavior. The world is already past the age where it's each man for his own, where self-interest is pursued at all cost. We can afford to be more polite and about irrational reactions. So this
Sorry,
can be a big deal.
sorry, Jessy, somehow now like we have missed track of the PPT, you're able to see the PPT? Maybe I think, is this a slide? Somehow we have missed it on track. Are you?
It's okay, Armstrong.
Okay.
Because I will be able to, I'll be talking more because
Okay.
I don't want to put so much of theories on kids, Okay. So let me just come back to civility can be a big deal, especially when it comes to life and death situations. A physician told me about a doctor that he worked with and who was never very respectful, especially to the junior staff and nurse. But he told me that about this one particular interaction where this doctor shouted at the medical team. Right after the interaction, the team gave a wrong dosage of medication to the patient. He said the information was right there on the chart, but somehow everyone on the team missed it. So he said that they lacked attention or awareness to take it into account. A simple mistake, right? Well, that patient died. So this can cost a lot. Yeah. So researchers in Israel have actually shown that the medical teams exposed to rudeness perform worse, not only in their diagnostics, but in all procedures they did. This is mainly because the teams exposed to rudeness didn't share the information as readily and they stopped seeking help from their teammates. And I see this is not in medicine, it's in all industries. So if incivility has such a huge cost, why do we still see so much of it? I was curious. We surveyed people about this too. And the number of reasons we found is stress. People feel overwhelmed. The reason that people are not more civil is because they're skeptical. They're even concerned of being civil and appearing nice. So they believe that they will appear less leader-like. So they wonder, do nice guys finish last? Or in other words, do jerks go ahead? It is easy to think so, especially when we see few prominent examples that dominate the conversation. Well, it turns out in the long run, they don't. There are really rich research on this by Morgan McQuell and Michael Lombardo at Center for Creative Leadership. They found the number one reason tied to executive failure was an insensitive, abrasive bullying style. There will always be someone outliers that succeed despite of their incivility. We have seen so many leaders. They're so incivil and they are still the leaders. So someone gets away with it. Sooner or later, though, most of the civil people sabotage their success. For example, with an uncivil executives, it comes back to hurt them when they are in a place of weakness or they need something. People won't have their backs. But what about the nice guys? Does civility pay? Yes, it does pay. And we are seeing in US elections, civility does pay. And incivility costs. And being civil doesn't just mean that you are not a jerk. Not holding someone's down, isn't that the same as lifting them up? But truly civil means doing small things like smiling, saying hello in the hallway, listening fully when someone is speaking to you. Now, you can have strong opinions, disagree, or conflict, and give negative feedback. You can do it civilly, right? With respect. Some people call it radical candor, where you care personally, but you challenge directly. So yes, civility pays. In a firm, colleagues and I found that they were seen civil, some people were seen as civil, were twice as likely to be viewed as leader. If you're civil, you will be viewed as leader. And they perform significantly better. So why does civility pay? Because people see you as an important and a powerful, unique combination of two characteristics: warm, competent, friendly, and smart. So does it pay to you? Yes, you become a leader. So in other words, being civil isn't just about motivating others, it is about you. If you are civil, you are more likely to be seen as a leader, you perform better, and you are seen as warm and competent. But there are even bigger stories about how civility pays. And it ties to those one of the most important questions around leadership. What do people want most from other leaders? Respect. Being treated with respect was more important than recognition and appreciation, useful feedback, even opportunities for learning. Those that felt respected were healthier, more focused, more likely to stay with the organization, and far more engaged. So, where do you start? How can you lift people up, making people feel respected? Well, the nice thing is it doesn't require a huge shift. small things can make big difference. I found that thanking people, sharing credit, listening attentively, humbly asking questions, and acknowledging others and smiling has an impact. Patrick Kunlan, former CEO of Oshner Health System, told about the effects of their 10-5 way, where if we are within the 10 feet of someone, you make eye contact and smile. And when you are 5 feet, within 5 feet, you say hello. This is the 10-5 way. He explained that the civility spread, patients' satisfaction scores rose, and so did the patient's referrals. Civility and respect can be used to boost an organization's performance. The key is to be agile, mindful in each of these moments. Civility lifts people. We all get people to give more and function at their best if we are civil. Incivility chips away at people and their performance. It robs people of their potential. Even if they are just working around it, what I know from our research is when we have more civil environment, we are more productive, we are creative, we are helpful, we are happy, and we are healthy. So we can do better, right? So each one of us can be more mindful and can take actions to lift others up around us, at work, at home, at college, at your school, and in your community. In every interaction, think, who do you want to be? Let's put an end to the incivility bug, and start spreading civility. After all, it pays. Thank you. Thank you all. So I would request Mr. Tony to play that video.
Hello, I'm Jamie West, and I am so frustrated with the lack of civility in today's business world. Have you ever witnessed such behaviors in your workplace? If not, let me show you.
Hey, do you have a minute? Okay, yep, that sounds good. Thank you.
Is the video visible?
Yes.
Hey, so I have a great idea. What about a new e-commerce system where we can put all of our products online? And I ran some numbers. I think it'll improve our sales by 20%. So what do you think?
I think that's a really good idea. I'd really love for you to put together a portfolio. Let me look at the numbers tonight, and I'll bring it up at the meeting tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for taking the initiative. I really appreciate that. Okay, sales team, thank you all for coming in this morning. I want you to take a look at this proposal I put together. It is for a new e-commerce platform. Now, Kylie, honey, can you go get me some coffee? Sure. So I put these numbers together last night, and I think that this new e-commerce system will increase our sales by 20%. Now take a look at the numbers. Let me know what you think.
I think this is a very good idea. Who came up with this?
I did.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I just came in my head last night. Brilliant, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, hey Chloe, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, good. So did you hear? It's all over the office what Molly did this weekend.
No, I did not. Tell me.
Shh. Hold on. I don't want to do it.
No.
Oh, and can you believe it? Actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's Molly. Thank y'all for coming to this meeting this morning. So as you know, we're going to talk about our e-commerce sales. It's supposed to go up by 20% if we do this, and you can see by this graph over the next 5 years, our trajectory sales will.
20%. This really, I'm just confused by what you're trying to communicate with this. I feel like you're way off base with just the beginning of this presentation.
Oh,
Russell, just the person I was looking for. Hey, so, don't hate me, but I know you asked off for Passover or whatever it is your people do, but I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. It's really important.
First of all, I'm busy on Saturday, and second of all, I asked off for Ramadan.
Whatever.
Toxic, right? Now let's take a look at these scenarios with a dose of civility.
Guys, thank you all for coming in this morning. I really appreciate it. So, I have some really exciting news. Kylie put together a proposal for an e-commerce platform, and her numbers show that it will increase sales by 20%. Everyone give Kylie a round of applause.
Oh, very good.
Thank you. Oh, hey Chloe, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. So I've got some really juicy gossip. Did you hear what Molly did this weekend?
No, and I don't think we should be having this conversation right now. It's not really appropriate for work. If Molly wants to tell me, she'll tell me.
Whatever.
Thank you guys for coming to the meeting this morning. I really appreciate your time. So as you know, we're going to talk about our e-commerce sales. If we do put these products online, our sales are supposed to increase by 20%, and you can see that over 5 years, these are our trajectory sales.
Excuse me.
Yes.
The email you sent this morning had different data. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. So from the slide that you got.
Oh, Russell, come in. Just the person I was looking for. So, I know that you asked off for Ramadan, and I made a scheduling error, and I had this project due, but I really want to respect your holiday. And so, is there any way we can figure out a way to get this done before then?
Yeah, that'll be great. I think we can do it.
Okay, perfect. I'll call you later, and we'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Today, civility and
Thank you. Thank you, Tony, for sharing the video. So now the room is open for Q&A session.
Ma'am, there's a question from one of our students. She's asking if you think civility in a workplace will differ from place to place or from country to country. What is your take on that?
See, the basic behavior of civility remains same. It's like when I mentioned that saying hello, just passing a smile. This is basic everywhere. Yes, when I'm in Oman, if I'm meeting Omani counterpart, I don't, they don't shake hand with you. I have to give the hand to them, like to shake hand. So this is the civility here. But if I do the same in Europe, it is uncivil behavior. You understand? So it differs from, so you have to adapt. You have to adapt according to the country, according to the place, according to, any scenario. So, but basic things remain same.
Ma'am, so are you saying that culture plays a role with civility?
Exactly. It may differ in Europe. It will be different in Middle East because there are a lot of respect which they show to the women counterpart. So they don't usually show hands for shake hand. So this is a civility which is the culture which is maintained here. So it can be different. So you need to adapt.
And we have
I can see
there is
some of
another question. Difference between civility and respect.
See, civility and respect go hand in hand. If you are civil, you will respect your fellow individual, your fellow person. So it goes hand in hand. So there is no difference. If you're civil, you will be respected and you will respect. I think I answered the question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, another question.
Yeah.
If an interviewee would be a bystander observing a colleague being uncivil towards another colleague, how would they respond?
See, I mentioned this in one of my conversations that you have to pinpoint very civilly. You have to be, addressing that matter. Yes, like like I mentioned, that the incivil behavior, if you have experienced it or witnessed it, you behave the same, because it definitely brings down your performance. So you have to be, proactive and at least speak out if you see an uncivil behavior. For example, you see two students fighting, and you cannot be a mute witness. You have to go and intervene and tell them to behave civilly, in civil way, right? So this is how it is.
There is a few more questions. Ways to practice civility at home.
Exactly. See, it all comes because our most of the time we spend in school and colleges, mostly 70% maybe. Dr. Armstrong, if I'm not wrong, 70% you spend with your teachers, your peers, your students. But the upbringing, what you bring from your family, is what is reflected. Have you seen, you somehow like civil people and they become leaders? Most of the civil people who are instilled with civility, they become good leaders because they are respected. We feel to respect them because they respect us, so we feel to respect them. So this is how we need to bring up our children at home. The civility has to be taught at home. It starts, it's the beginning is at home. The upbringing, the characteristic building is done at home. So that is what we need to do. Bring up your child with civil manners.
Ma'am, one more question is, what if we work in a place where there is low civility and that didn't work out? Is it okay to be a good civility person there?
See, I'll tell you for an example. When I was, I studied with Dr. Armstrong, and I must be just 22 when I joined Halden Glass Limited in Bombay. And my age was like 22 or 23 hardly. And my supervisor, who was below me, was almost like close to 50. And believe me, I faced a lot of incivility when I became a HR officer, very junior HR officer, because they could not take me as a boss. So I had an issue with that particular supervisor who was older to me. One day I had to call him. It's, I had a very nice chat with him. I called him in my cabin and I told him, see, your age and you have spent, what he told me, I spent 25 years in this company and you're just 22 and you're coming and bossing me. I said, Mr. So-and-so, I want you to give your experience to me, your experience and my qualification. We combine together and make this department more productive. Believe me, after that, I never had a problem with him. He always used to, hinder whatever I put forward in the meeting. He will say, what she knows. She knows nothing. She's kindergarten, kiddish. So you need to prove, you need to come out of the shell and say, see, yes, you are experienced. We want your experience, your practical experience, but our qualification, which has come now, we know the modern technologies, we combine this together and make the department better performer. So that will solve your problem.
Having a good conversation with the person.
Exactly.
So
The
you have a
communication. Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, another question. I think it's somewhat similar. How did you develop civility, like in your experience? I feel like this was one of.
Yes. See, I actually am a consultant for Sultan Qaboos University and Majan University, Sohar University, Sharkia University. I do it as CSR here because I'm living in this country for 20 years and I believe that I need to give back. And I interact with kids like you who are like, you give energy to me, basically. Actually, when I see you kids, it really gives me a boost And I like to, share. So this particular instinct in me has developed, what do you say, to be humble, to be more with humility. And I started interacting with a lot of kids across the nation. And I have been interacting with them and teaching them, here, there used to be minimum salary of 600 real. That is almost like 1.5 lakh Indian rupees for a graduate when they enter an organization. Now it has changed because of the new decree. But I used to tell them that the organization is not going to give you 600 unless and until you produce the worth of 6,000 real. So we, we teach them to become humble and be on ground. Not that what I am coming out of, being an MBA with flying color, Philip Kotler, I don't know, all this big jargons. This is not practically correct. Work is entirely different. Doctor will agree with me. What we learn in MBA, we don't do in our workplace. It's entirely different. And, you face incivility at every corner of organization. You have to deal with it. If we are not able to deal with it, you cannot survive. I started working from, working. And then I started my own business. Since last 10 years, I'm in business and I'm operating in Oman, UK, and India, and with associate office in UAE and Kuwait. So it is not easy to manage so many offices in different continents. But yes, continuous practice. You need to practice. Whatever you do, civility, you need to practice it. Just think that the way you want you to be treated by others, you do the same to them. It's a reciprocation. So civility is reciprocation. You respect others, you get the respect. That's it.
Ma'am, another question is, how big of an impact does a workplace environment play in achieving the organizational goals?
Yes, it does play a huge role. I have instances where people have left the job because of incivility. People don't leave jobs, they leave bosses. Do you know that? They don't leave companies, they leave bosses, their ultimate supervisor. His incivil behavior is making them resign. And it is common. It is common across the world. It will be different in India, it will be different in UK. When it comes to Oman, it is entirely different. So how do you handle that? That is important. So you sustain, I always say that your personal goals should be aligned with organizational goals. So whatever percolates down, your personal goal should be you want to be a manager after 2 years. Your personal goal is to be a manager. So how do you align it with the organizational goal? I always tell my students, because I'm a recruiter, I'm running a recruitment consultancy. So basically, when I interview people, I always say, please read the vision and mission of the organization. See it, whether that mission and vision aligns to your personal goal, then only you join that organization. Otherwise, it's waste, because your personal goals will go in one direction and the organization is going in another direction, and it won't align. So you cannot be like railway tracks. You have to be aligned and moving forward. So see to it, when you are joining an organization, you have to go and learn about the characteristic of every organization has a characteristic. You talk about Google, it has a characteristic. You talk about any other organization, they have a characteristic. Why do you join Google? Because you want to be a part of that movement which Google is doing. So this is what you need to see, that you have to identify what is your personal goal and whether it is aligning with the organizational goal. If it is aligning, join them. There, you are putting 200% of your potential there. I hope I answered.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, sometimes in a workplace, when you're being civil, some people take advantage of your civil behavior. So, how do we handle such a situation?
See, you have been seeing me, how I talk in a very civil manner. But people have seen my different look as well. you know, I have to be very, very strong when I see an incivil behavior. So it's in you. You have to shift. It's a shift of your personality where it is required. You have to put an end to something or an incivil behavior which you didn't like it. You have to say no. I remember one of our mentor, the spiritual mentor we had here, late Kalpana Lisri. He's no more. He was a management guru and spiritual mentor in Oman. He told me once, Jesse, learn to say no. We all, with the civil behavior, will say, yes, 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 yes. And we dump ourselves with a lot of yes. And we succumb. We actually don't perform. We succumb with those yes, which we are not able to, our shoulders are full with responsibilities because we have taken a lot of yes. But the day you say no, it's a stepping stone for your success. You have to say which you cannot take it. Say no. Big no. It's important. So that makes you actually strict, and it shows your other personality that you're so civil, but you know where to act when someone is incivil. Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Sir, do we have time for just a few more questions?
Yes, please go ahead. No, like when students are interested and they would like to interact, and if required, maybe even we can open up the mic for them if they want to interact. You can read the few questions from here, and
Okay, sir.
if they want.
If anybody wants to ask, they can. I have a personal question before that. Ma'am, you are managing, I guess, 3 or 4 different companies at a time. So being at the topmost position, how do you handle like all that pressure and all that? You have to manage a lot of people with a lot of different attitudes and a lot of different behavior. So how do you know, handle that, and how do you respond to that?
See, to be a leader, I always say you need to be thorough with what you are doing. If you have a very specific goal, like in UK, if my monthly targets are X amount, I will be focusing on that, and I will be aligning all my staff in UK to reach that target. So it's like systematic approach which I have developed over the years because I've been handling different continents. So you will actually you actually run extra miles. You cannot be like a normal person. And there is one thing, I think Dr. Armstrong will agree with me, that fire in the belly. I do everything, even this webinar session, whatever, I take it very seriously. I don't leave any stone unturned, or I take everything very seriously. I want to give 200%, even though it is not related to me. This is what, if you have the attitude, you are daily learner. You don't die learning. You improve yourself every day. So that is what is making you different. Why leaders behave differently? Because they are always learning. They are accepting, okay, this is my failure, this is my mistake, I have to correct it and go ahead. And I constantly learn. So you have to learn every minute. You have to accept you have to make them leaders as well. Like you give them decentralized leadership skills you have to develop among your staff. And I know what is my profit I have to get from Camden. I know what is I have to get from JJ2 or what I have to do sitting here in Oman. So if my bottom line is met, I don't question them. I don't even question them. They are coming to work. No, I don't. I know if we shoulder the responsibility, they're able to carry out their work and perform in a very effective manner. So my leadership style is more like flat. I don't have like boss. Now you will see in most of the organization, no one calls sir or madam except in the organization, except in the institutions where you study. But when you come to the corporate culture, people are not using. They'll call you by first names because it's flattened. There is no boss or subordinate relationship. It's just a team. So if we consider everyone as a team and give them their accountability and responsibility, they do their work, that's it. That's it. That makes your life easy. So I have learned over the years to do that, and I've been successful doing that.
Ma'am, another question is, you said you're a recruiter. So, do you prefer people who are talented and academically, like very good performance in academics, or someone with a scope of improvement, or someone who will grasp things once learned, who might not be very good academically though, but who has good central values?
See, I'll tell you something. As a recruiter, I don't see credentials now. I must be doing millions of interviews. I stopped counting when I started recruiting 8 years back. Actually, I was in HR before starting my business. There also, I have recruited thousands and thousands of people. Uh, what I see, one incident I can just share with you. I have head of procurement, Omani. He was recruited for one of the organizations, which is like 3 hours away from here. And I just interviewed this guy on phone. And believe me, we had a conversation of 2 hours, but I didn't ask him any technical questions and nothing I asked from his CV. And he was very surprised. And he said, Jess, the interview is over? I said, yes, it is over. And I have got all the answers what I require to, get from you. So, he couldn't digest it and he was selected. He is head of procurement currently for the same organization. And I have not seen him. I have not seen him. I just spoke to him over and over so many times because, the most important thing when we are doing recruitment, it's like a puzzle. I know the management. I know the intrinsic characteristics of that management or the board of directors or the chairman. And I exactly choose people who are fitting into that organization. The best fit doesn't fit there. Maybe the best fit, like you said, academically, very strong person. And he might not be good with attitude. He's not a team player. So you must have seen most of the toppers end up being a general manager of one company, and they can, they reach the ladder up to general manager and then stop. They don't have entrepreneurial skills. They don't go to business. But the backbenchers. I'm not saying that you should not study. Sorry, teachers, you should study. But those people who are innovative, sitting at the backbench, and they're very creative, and they turn to be the business people because they know to hire those academically strong people in their organization and make their businesses run. So this can happen. So most important for any recruiter is the attitude. If your attitude or if your civil behavior is not good, you are not going to fit into any organization. If you're arrogant, if you're very, hot-tempered, you will never get into a good organization. So you need to be a team player. organization or corporate culture is entirely different from what we see. So that is the most important thing. So when you are selecting people, we see the attitude, we see how you behave in certain circumstances, and technical skills you can gain it, or practical skills you can gain it, but this intrinsic characteristic and emotional intelligence you cannot. So now, if you see, the recruiters are testing your emotional intelligence more than before, because that is important. That is important.
One more question is, you manage a lot of people. So if one of your employees or a group of your employees slip into uncivil behavior again, what do you do to get them back on track?
I'll tell you the example of yesterday. I have fisheries, I will not take the name of the organization. I have a government organization here where I send around 10 people. And they are in the lowest category, because I do recruitment for CU as well as the worker level, because since the visas are closed, now we have to do local recruitment, and we are left with nothing, because I wanted to tell all of you that there is an opportunity in Oman, because 2,260,000 people have left Oman. So there is a huge gap of manpower resources in Oman. So in one or in few months we will have those vacancies opening up after this COVID, and there'll be a lot of movement in the recruitment, because they have removed a chunk from here. So there is a huge gap. So that gap has to be definitely filled up. So when I was mentioning about, I'm coming back to this 10 employees, one of them, it's a worker category, he's from a different nationality. He started creating problem that, because now when you go to a new workplace, you have to be quarantined for 14 days, and you don't work, you basically eat and sleep, that's it, and you're not allowed to go out. This guy didn't like that fact, because he's a worker. So he said, no, मुझे बाहर भेजो, and I'll not sleep here, all those. He started creating, and what happened, I have to literally call him. I said, I'm not going to remove those 9, I'm going to remove you, because you created this ruckus and you're responsible for this. If you don't behave in civil manner, I will have no excuse. I will take you out from that site and put you somewhere else. And believe me, I was a bit rude, I have to be, because he created such a ruckus, because like we say, one dirty fish can spoil the whole pond, and it was affecting the 9 people who have joined along with him. So I have to take that stand. And believe me, in 1 hour, I got a call, ma'am, I don't want to go from here. So this happens. You have to, where you need to be strict, you have to be strict. Where you have to, handle it, you have to handle it. There is no excuse for it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I think the questions are all done.
Okay. Fine. So it's been very nice and interactive session with a lot of questions, and I'm sure now, because now this is a very important concept. As Jessy Mathew pointed out, being civil is very, very essential, right? So in the workplace, and where does it start? Maybe, like in the classroom environment, I think that should start there, right? Maybe, like when you work as a team, or maybe, you have to start there. Now at your home, you need to start there. And as it was pointed out, it is very difficult, to hide the truth. I mean, you simply cannot now go around telling the lies all the time. So at some point, you get caught, and people know about you. You cannot just paint pictures about you. Like, so it becomes difficult. So be to yourself, and particularly now, as it was pointed out, when you go to a work culture, your productivity, your team, Okay, now how good you are as a team member, all that matters. And I'm sure that the students have got a very good input from the resource person, and I'm sure that that will be a kind of an eye opener for them. And obviously, they wouldn't have thought how important civility is. They would have thought to communication is important, teamwork is important. All that is fine, but to be civil, to respect the other person. So definitely, what goes around comes back to you. So you respect somebody else, now obviously people will respect you also. You don't respect, you will also not be respected. So that is the key. And I'm sure that our students have liked us, and we continue to keep in touch with you, with Jessy Thomas, so that the students would be we'd be trying to invite you back. Once the COVID is over, maybe it will be nice and good. You come to MCC sometime and interact with our students as well. I should say, many of our students are from the Middle East also. They have come. They have come here to do their undergraduation in business administration. I really, thank and appreciate the resource person and also the students who have interacted effectively. If we have any other questions, then we can wait for somebody to raise the questions if they have. Okay.
Just to add, anyone who is like, I don't know, you are all in graduation or in your post graduation. I think graduation, right?
Graduation, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So you all must be going for post graduation or looking for jobs. So it can be either, like, so what basically, you have my details, you can take from Dr. Armstrong. And if someone who is in this part of the world, or because I operate in UAE, Kuwait, and Oman, so, and also to some extent to Bahrain and Qatar and UK, and I do send student to Canada and UK. So anything, if I can be of help to any students or your career guidance cell, I can, interact with you with my requirements. Sometimes I need, I do come to different colleges in India when there is huge requirements going on or manpower recruitment going on. So I can be in touch with the career guidance cell, even the alumni who are already passed out and they're looking out for jobs. You have me. You have a very resourceful person for all your requirements.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Jessy Mathews, and it's been nice and wonderful, interacting with you. And I'm sure that this interaction we would take it beyond what we have had right now, and it will be very nice for the students also to get this inputs from a very experienced and resourceful person. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time, and we wish you well. Have to have a very nice, happy weekend and to be safe.
I hope we are live on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay. So please do send me the link so that I at
Definitely.
least have the link. Okay. Thank you so much. And it was amazing pleasure meeting you all. Hope to meet you again.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So students, now we have come to the end of it, and maybe in case you have missed out on your attendance, you can send it across to your respective teachers also. So the day gets over today, and tomorrow any instructions I will keep you informed about it. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.